Yuma, Arizona. What the freak? So I landed in Yuma, Arizona, and I had the Marine Corps all green uniform, gabardine wool. I landed in Yuma about 12 a.m. and it had to be at least 7,000 degrees. Hot. I go check in, and this was on a Friday night. So they put me in a transit barracks and was like, hey, you settle here for the weekend, and then Monday when you start your in processing, you'll move to your room, your permanent room. But you'll be in this room for the weekend. No problem. So I'm walking around base that Saturday morning, and I'm just like, what the freak? Now, all my friends from boot camp, all my friends from Marine Corps combat training, all my friends from the school, the logistics school, only one of them accompanied me to Yuma. And I didn't really care for this cat. So pretty much I'm in Yuma by myself, and I'm just walking around. All I see is freaking mountains. It's freaking hot. It's like a vacuum. I'm like in a microwave. I went to get some Burger King and some Godfather's pizza. Came back to that room, and I freaking cried. Lord, why am I here in freaking Yuma, Arizona? Why? What's in your will? Why am I here? What am I trying to get out of this? And I tell you, those 4 years in Yuma, Arizona, life-changing. So I had a great time. I really, in Yuma, Arizona, I was wild. I bought an 86 Regal in 1994. I was freaking wild. I mean, we was clubbing. I was a young Marine from Detroit with money. You know what I mean? You fill in the blanks. It was a great time. It was a great time. It was a good time. 1997, I met a young lady who was stationed with me. We ended up becoming, we was friends. Then we ended up becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. And next thing you know, we were married. We're moving out the barracks. She's a Marine. I'm a Marine. And my life changed so much. My life changed. I'm a husband now, How do we make this work? We live off base now. We don't live in the barracks. Her bills, my bills have to become our bills. I'm not used to that. She's not used to that. Oh, by the way, we're getting ready to have a baby. So her bills, my bills, our bills, we got a baby. What I want to do. Now, at this time, I was, probably 4 months away from my honorable discharge. And my whole plan, what I was going to do, I was going to get out, be discharged from the Marine Corps, and go back to Detroit and live in my mother's house. And I remember my wife said, girlfriend at the time was like, why don't you just stay here? Let's get married. Just stay here. And best decision I ever made in my life. Best decision ever made in my life. So now I'm discharged from the Marine Corps, unemployed, got a baby on the way, and I'm married. My wife's still in the Marine Corps, so we have some income generating. So I decided, you know what, I need to work. I need to do something. So my first job outside the Marine Corps as a civilian, I worked at a Dole plant in Yuma, Arizona. And now in the military, we used to 1.5-hour lunch breaks, right? So I get there, and we working. So I had two things that played critical roles in my decision to leave that night. So we tractor trailer would back up. We would take all the crates of asparagus off the truck, unwrap it, unsaran wrap it, shrink wrap it, do all that. Take it off the pallets. Put it on a conveyor belt. I will wash the asparagus, all this asparagus, pallets and pallets full of asparagus. Wash it off. Put it back on those crates. Re-saran wrap it. Put it back on the truck. This happened for like 4 or 5 hours straight. Could not figure out why we're doing this. So I asked the supervisor, hey, don't ask no questions. You just here to work. Put your head down and work. Next thing you know, we go on break. That was strike one because I didn't see the sense in that. Strike one. That was strike one. Strike two. Hey, y'all go on break. Anderson, go on break. They ain't giving me no brief. I didn't know the structure. I didn't know how anything worked. So I'm just going off My time in the Marine Corps. I'm used to 1.5 hour lunches. And gosh, dog, I'm going to take an 1.5 hour lunch. So I get back on the break room after, taking this 1.5 hour lunch. I'm sitting there reading the USA Today, eating a sandwich. I'm back there for like 45, 50 minutes. I hear him, where's Anderson? Where's Anderson? I'm like, what the freak, man? He said, hey, dude, he's a Mexican cat. Hey, dude, what are you doing? He said, you got to get back on the floor. I'm like, no, lunch is 1.5 hours. He said, no, 30 minutes. Now, it's like a 10-hour work shift, 30-minute break, and I think 3 10-minute breaks. I'm like, so my break is only 30 minutes? Yeah, get up, let's go. Okay, I'm getting up and going. I packed my lunch up. I folded my paper. I finished my lemonade. I got up. I walked onto the floor to the daggone parking lot to my car, key in ignition, vehicle in reverse. I left. I freaking left. And my wife, so she was off that day, and she was like, what are you doing home so early? Everything good? I said, yeah. I said, I quit my job. And she just gave me this look like, you did what? I said, yeah, I quit my job. She said, why? She said, what happened? I said, well, first of all, I didn't like this whole asparagus thing. I thought it was stupid. Downloading the truck, washing it off, putting it back on the same truck. And, I'm used to 1.5 hour lunch breaks. I was so immature back then. She's like, so you quit your job. Now, mind you, we only had one income. Tough times, man. So then I say, you know what? My passion is gym shoes and sneakers. I'm going to start working at Foot Locker. So I end up, the guy that ran the Foot Locker, his name was Jerry. Cool cat. Southgate. I think the name of the mall was Southgate Mall. Started working at Foot Locker. And for some reason, I was just like, I wasn't really aggressive. I would kind of just stand there. And after a couple of days, he was like, hey, Damon, he said, let's go to lunch, man. So we went to lunch, and he told me to be a bulldog. If you're not a bulldog, I can't have you in the store, because you're not really bringing value. When he said that lit a fire in me to the point where I was outselling the people that worked there. I mean, all my Marine friends was coming in, buying shoes, and that was a driving force for me. That was a wake-up call. I had 2 wake-up calls. I don't know if Foot Locker still conduct these operations like this, but when I first started working there, I had a 4-digit code, a 3-digit code, or whatever. So whenever I would sell a shoe or any type of item, Foot Locker item, you're supposed to go to the register, punch your code in, and then everything that was purchased will be under your commission. You start making commission because you had a base salary and a commission. I didn't know. So it was a guy named Healy. He said, hey, just give me your code. I punch your stuff in for you, So I'm like, okay. So it was a girl named Samantha something. She pulled me to the side after a couple of days of this. And she was like, look, dude. She said, that's how he got me. What's happening? He's taking all your sales. He said, look at your sheet. You're not selling anything because you're giving everything to him. And once I took that power back and started inputting my own code, doing all that, I was untouchable in that store. I was selling. Man, suggestive selling. If you bought some shoes, you was going to buy some socks. You was going to buy a freaking hat. You was going to buy some freaking shorts, wristbands. I didn't care what it was. You was going to freaking buy it. I was aggressive. Jerry wanted a bulldog. He wanted a thoroughbred. He freaking got it. Now, around this time, this is my daughter's already born and everything, and I'm only getting 1 day off a week, which was on a Tuesday. Didn't like that. So the summertime of 1999, something's got to change. I'm still working here. I'm making good money, making real good money, but I'm not happy. I'm newly married, daughter's born, only get 1 day off a week. Something got to give. My day off was Tuesday. Tuesday was the only time I was able to spend with my family. But I was freaking tired because I was working 11, 12 hours a day working at Foot Locker. I was tired. Something got to give. Something has to change. Summertime of 1999, I decided I wanted to enlist back into the Marine Corps. That was my goal, to go back to the Marine Corps. I miss being in the military. So going to the Marine Corps recruiting station, I seen one of my old Marine friends. He was like, hey, man, where you getting ready to go? I said, I'm going back to the Marines. He said, no, man, the Army is where it's at. So as Marines, we're taught the Army is trash All the other branches are garbage. They're subordinate to us. The Marine Corps, we're better than everyone. That's just the way it is. You can call it brainwashing, but that's the way they indoctrinate you. And I was like, the Army? He said, yeah, man. He said, go to the Army recruiter. They got more duty stations, this and that and the third. So I go talk to the Army recruiter. And he said, I say, I'm a prior service Marine. I'm not asking for any bonuses. I said, I want to go back to the military. I said, but first, tell me what the Army can offer. So he's talking about all these duty assignments, and the Army has way more duty assignments than the Marine Corps. Talking about all these assignments and everything. And I told him, I thought I was going to call his bluff. I said, if you can get me Europe, me and my family Europe, I will sign this freaking contract. I think I'm calling this bluff. There's no way this dude is going to get me to Europe. He said, I contact you in 72 hours. Bet. So I go home, tell my wife the whole situation and everything. She's like, okay, let's see what happens. 72 hours later, I get a call. Come to the station. So I get to the station. The guy was like, hey, you wanted Europe? He said, I can't pinpoint where exactly in Europe, but you're going to freaking Europe. You'll find out where in Europe you're going to go when you get the freaking to the MEPS. So I had to go through the whole MEPS process, but being a prior service Marine, I didn't have to freaking go to basic training or AIT. Everything just freaking converted over. All I had to do was go to Fort Jackson, South Carolina for 2 weeks to get inoculated, new uniforms, update all my paperwork, administrative stuff. Then I'm off to freaking Europe. Then I found out you're going to freaking Germany. I'm in the freaking U.S. Army, about to go to Germany.